Warning. This video will not be edited with a ton of beeps, bops, and boops, so if you're looking for that kind of instant gratification learning, this is not the place. But if you are looking for some immense value and you're just trying to sit down and listen and kind of relax in a way, this is the place. So this is me before I started lifting. I was 15 on the cusp of turning 16. I was 130 pounds at like 6 foot. So I was quite the twig, I will say. I was the slender man. I mean, look at these eyes. And I knew nothing about lifting, not a thing. I knew nothing about gaining muscle, anything. I didn't even know what the hell the word aesthetic meant, to be honest with you. I just thought it was a term like girls used when describing their room. But this is me a year later after this picture. And then this is me 2 years later. This is what I look like nowadays at the ripe age of 18 years old. And in those 2 years, I not only put on 35 pounds of muscle naturally and built what I would consider a Greek god physique. I mean, I even added this sexy image for you. I even kind of built like a Greek god face. I mean, I'm kind of mewing hard in this. Anyways, enough with them TikTok terms. If I would have known what I'm going to teach you in this video 2 years ago, when I was looking like this, I would have made the same progress in way less time. Like, I probably would have been looking like this around this period. So especially if you're skinny, fat, and trying to bulk up, this video is for you. So first thing, might be a little boring. You might be like, oh, no. Mindset. This is so important. This is more important than you can imagine. Because you will not get aesthetic, you will not get jacked without the right mindset. So the 3 criterias of mindset, in my opinion, what has worked for me is first, set goals. And goals will not get you jacked, but they will give you a destination. And you're not going anywhere without a destination, right? So you got to set strength and weight goals. At least that's what I did. The classic 225-pound bench, that was like my first, like big goal. Obviously, I had increments before that, like, bench 200 pounds. But I had goals for my strength, my certain lifts, whatever. And then I had weight goals because I started at 130 pounds. And, I wanted to bulk up, obviously. I think my first weight goal, I believe it was 145 pounds. And I surpassed that, right? And nowadays, I'm hovering around 170. And now my weight goal is 200. All right, so your goals will always evolve, whatever. But you need to set them. Second criteria of mindset is to have purpose. And having purpose in life in general, that's a good thing. But I'm more referring to having purpose in lifting. Because, sure, you are lifting to become aesthetic, or you're lifting to whatever, become stronger, to bulk up, or to look better. But there should be a deeper reason, right? Maybe one day when you're 38 years old and you have a family, you want to be aesthetic and you want to be able to, carry your kids on your back, play with them. The kid's kind of floating. Maybe you also learned how to use the force. But you need to have a deeper purpose. Right? It can be anything. Maybe it's you want to carry your mom's groceries on one arm. And the third criteria of mindset is it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy to always want to go to the gym. You're going to be sore. You're going to be tired. You're not going to want to eat the right foods all the time. But hard shit is worth having. And that is the number one lesson I've taken away from lifting and just in life in general at 18 years old is hard shit is worth having, right? When has the easy shit ever really been worth it? It's just kind of instant gratification, whatever. So you set your goals. Now you need to set a system because goals are the destination. A system, that's the car. That's what's taking you there, right? And, to just put it bluntly, you just got to take action, really. So your main goal is to become aesthetic. You know who this guy is, right? Ziz. He's a sick cunt, as some might say. Most aesthetic man on earth. But your main goal is to become aesthetic. How do you do this? Well, you lift weights, obviously. But more specifically, for hypertrophy, for putting on muscle, you're going to want to do high volume workouts. And what that means is, high reps, high sets. So 3 to 4 sets per exercise, 8 to 16 reps going to complete failure on at least 2 sets, right? And if you don't know what failure looks like, honestly, join my Discord server and message me, and I will send you a video of me going to complete failure. But to describe it in this video, it is to the point where you can't even do a partial rep. Because I see a lot of people stopping when they're doing full reps, when they're still doing full reps, they are stopping their set. No, you need to go to where you're doing partials to the point where you can't do partials anymore. And one way to optimize going to failure, at least this has worked for me very well, is drop setting. If I'm really fighting demons, honestly, I will drop set every single set. And I'm not saying you have to go to failure on every single set, but I mean, if you're fighting demons, go for it. But drop set, if you don't know what that is, say you're cranking 30 pounds on the dumbbell bicep curl, and once you go to failure on that, you drop them and pick up like 15 pounds and continue, like right where you left off. You don't break, you don't take a break or anything. I do not know how I glazed over this in my original recording because this is so important to building an aesthetic physique, but progressive overload. If you don't know what progressive overload is, it's where you increase the weight and or rep of an exercise in order to put more strain and stress on your muscles so they grow back stronger and bigger. So in basic terms, this is how you progress in lifting. The main method I use for progressive overload, you don't got to copy me exactly, but I like providing guidance for everything. Say I'm using 20 pounds for an exercise. I'll increase the reps I'm doing by 1 or 2 every single time I do this exercise, session to session, right? In this example, I do 10 reps to failure on this exercise. In one session, 11 reps the next, and then 12 reps the third. And after, I've increased the reps by at least 3, I'll increase the weight. So after 12 reps, I'll increase the weight to 25 pounds, and then I'll repeat the process with however many reps I can do. This has worked for me pretty well. It can be pretty confusing at times knowing whether you should increase weight or not. And some exercises, it is different, right? Like you're not going to be constantly increasing your bicep curl weightage, right? Because you can't just shoot up like 10 pounds in a week on that. But for something like bench, that is very possible. So, you got to be finicky with it. You got to kind of figure it out, dial it in. But your goal is to become aesthetic. So you're not just going to want to lift weights at random. You're going to want a structured workout and a structured workout for aesthetics specifically. So the two best splits, push-pull legs and chest, back, arms, legs. So push-pull legs, that would be chest, shoulder, tries. On push day, pull day would be back, biceps, and then legs, just legs. And this is pretty self-explanatory. Arm day, I think a lot of people, they don't realize you do shoulders on arm day as well as tricep and bicep. But anyways, that's pretty self-explanatory. But if your goal is to become aesthetic, right, you're going to want to do a bit extra for the aesthetic muscles. And the aesthetic muscles are shoulders, lats, upper chest, and legs. And when it comes to shoulders, specifically the side delt, which is, the lat raise. The lat raise does that one very effectively. It works your side delt. But these muscle groups will give you that V taper, that wide look. And legs, maybe it won't give you a V taper, but trust me, you do not want skinny legs. I'm saying this from experience. I have skipped leg day so many times, and I am suffering the consequences. Okay? My legs should be much stronger and much bigger than they are, considering how my upper body looks. But you're going to want to do a bit extra for these muscles. And when I say a bit extra, I do not mean to go overboard. Okay, you don't need to, add like 3 extra exercises. A bit extra is like 1 to 2 extra sets, maybe an extra exercise, depending on what it is, because some are harder to work than others. Like lats, if you're a beginner lifter, lats are not easy to target. It took me at least a year before I could effectively get a lat pump. But just do a bit extra. Next up, we got diet. And I got a Twinkie here. You probably shouldn't eat Twinkies. I just thought it would be a nice little picture. But diet is beyond important. My diet was the reason for my failures and my success. Okay, because for a while, my first couple months of lifting, by couple, I mean like solid 8 months of lifting, I made no progress. Like I quite literally did not gain a shred of weight. Maybe I gained like 2 pounds, but it really wasn't a muscle. I wasn't getting stronger or anything. But then, I optimized my diet, and then all of a sudden the gains came. The gains came, okay? This is a picture of a jacked man, if you can't tell. So, my number 1 tip for diet, especially if you're bulking, get an eating routine. Okay? eat the same thing every day. Before I started getting into an eating routine, I would kind of like lose track of what I was eating. You know what I mean? I really didn't even, I've never really tracked calories, but I would forget to eat. You know what I mean? I would, kind of just be lost, like, oh, what am I going to eat today? And then I got into an eating routine. It became much simpler when I ate mainly the same things every day. Obviously, it wasn't the perfect fucking whatever. I didn't eat the exact same things every single day, but for the most part, I did. Like this guy. I think his name's Joey Chestnut or something. But he probably has an eating routine. I mean, he has to like train for these hot dogs. So be like Joey Chestnut, get an eating routine. And the next resource here, this was a game changer for me, is the macro calculator. And I got it pulled up right here. So basically, how it works, pretty simple. You just put in whatever, your human statistics, you could say. And say I want a extreme weight gain, right? Calculate. So it tells you how much protein you need to eat, carbs, fat, sugar, saturated fat, and calories. And, this helps a lot. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but this gives you so much guidance, so much, more direction when it comes to what you're going to eat, how much you need to eat. Because a lot of people are confused on that. So, if you're in a surplus, weight gain, extreme weight gain, if you want to lose weight, you can calculate that too. You don't got to meal prep. You really don't got to meal prep. You just got to know what you're going to eat. I've never meal prep before. I will say, if you do meal prep, like you're probably going to make more progress just because you're going to be a little bit more disciplined on that, but you don't have to. So general tips and tricks when it comes to bulking, because I know more about bulking than I do cutting, I will admit, just because I've mainly bulked. I have cut though, just because I was a wrestler in high school, so I kind of had to. But here are some general tips and tricks for bulking. So number one, this was a game changer for me. Drink a bulking shake. Okay? I can't make a proper square for the life of me, but that's all right. Drink a bulking shake right in the morning and right before you go to bed, or maybe either or, right? This is such a game changer. It is so easy to take down calories and protein when it is liquid. So my personal fucking recipe here. Maybe you don't want to follow this because it's not that tasty. You can do whatever you want, really. But I do 2 cups of milk, a banana, 2 servings of peanut butter, honey, a serving of Greek yogurt, and then 1.5 scoops of protein powder. And this is about 1,000 calories, and I believe it is 60 grams of protein. So it's very easy to take down to right in the morning, and that's instant 1,000 calories and like a third of the protein you need for the day. Chicken, rice, and broccoli, they're cool, okay? But there are so many other things. We always hear chicken, rice, and broccoli. I'm sure if you at all are part of the lifting, culture on the internet, you already know, like, you don't need to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. It is what it is. Like, it's good carbs, it's good protein, it's good calories, it's good nutrients in general. But I will say, personally, from my experience, eggs and peanut butter are your best friend. At least they were my best friend. Maybe they won't be yours, but they were mine. Okay, eggs, maybe they're not that high in calories, but the protein to like food ratio is insane. Okay, because I can cook up 8 eggs and I can down that in like 10 minutes. What, 8 times 6? 48 grams of protein? Just like that in like 10 minutes, and they're so easy to cook. If you put the right seasoning on them, maybe add some ham. It's tasty. Like, it tastes so good. And then peanut butter. Peanut butter is a holy grail. And I think a lot of people consider peanut butter as like a dirty bulk thing. And maybe it is. But it is so convenient. It is so convenient. It is so versatile too. But one of the meals I would eat is toast with peanut butter, cinnamon, honey, and then a banana on it, right? And I would eat 2 slices of these. And that's so high in carbs, so high in calories, pretty decent protein, and it is so easy to make, so convenient. You can make it in like 5 minutes, down it in like 10, right? And on top of that, you can get a protein shake, get you a spoon, a jar of peanut butter, and you can down easily 800 calories in like 4 minutes. And maybe that isn't good for you. Maybe it's not the best for you. But there's been many times I've done that, especially if I'm low on calories that day. But the fast food rule book, there is no fast food rule book. I didn't feel like typing this out. It is pretty simple. Just bro, don't be eating the shit ones. You know what I'm talking about? Mickey D's, fucking Burger King, the shitty ones, the ones that don't even taste that good. You can eat them once in a while, whatever. We all eat them once in a while. Let's be honest here. But generally, you're not gonna want to eat that much of that, even though it's high in calories and usually pretty decent in protein. It just makes your workouts worse. It just makes you feel like shit. And on top of that, it affects your mental health. Honestly, I'm a big mental health guy. Generally, if you're gonna eat out like fast food, I recommend medium food. Okay, like Qdoba, Chipotle. Those are pretty much the same thing. Like sub places, stuff like that. Places where it's still fast, but it is not complete processed shit. I mean, obviously, it's still not the best for you, but it is not complete garbage. Because places like Qdoba and like sub places, you're getting, bread, meat, rice, vegetables, stuff like that. Stuff that you think of when you're trying to like bulk. But snacks. Nuts are insane. I'm just going to say that bluntly. Nuts are insane. And not just my nuts. My nuts are crazy. They're massive. But these nuts are also insane. A handful of nuts, that's like easy 100 calories. And what? Off the top of my head, like 5 grams of protein. Imagine you're sitting there doing work. You got a protein shake or you got like a glass of milk. You're snacking on nuts. Like that, you can down like damn near like 600 calories in like a session of work. And it doesn't feel like you really ate anything because they're light. Nuts are light. But last but not least, rest. Okay? This is very important. I'm sure you've heard it before. Take 2 good rest days. That's what I do. I mean, if you're really a cranker, you can take 1, but I recommend taking 2. And make sure you prioritize your sleep. And that doesn't just mean to get 8 hours. Okay, a lot of people think, sleeping good just means, oh, I'm getting 8 hours. Sure, that is a very important factor, but the quality of sleep is even more important. A quality 6 hours is better than a shitty 8 hours. So make sure you're not going on your phone a ton before you go to sleep. Let your mind rest before you fall asleep. So, your mind's not active when it's trying to, get in the REM state and rest. Because without good rest, you are not building any muscle. And that makes everything I just talked about useless. So make sure you rest good. But if you want to join my Discord, the bulk dungeon, where, we'll talk about lifting, progress, and I even have some free resources, some free workouts on there. A link in the description. Join the Discord, boy. And for those who want to get skinny to aesthetic, skinny fat to aesthetic, even people who are overweight and they want to become aesthetic, I have personalized one-on-one coaching. So link in the description to apply. I hope to see you there. Okay, see you in the next one.